chill now that I know my emotions.
Welcome to another episode of the BJJ Goons podcast. I'm one half of the team, Tim Mushmaster Spriggs, and with me as always every week is...
Yo, what's up, everybody? It's Nico Ball, Nunu Nico, and glad to be back and on site at Team Lloyd Irvin today.
Yes, we are in Camp Springs, Maryland at Team Lloyd Irvin headquarters, and we're with an individual that played a huge role in helping to make Team Lloyd Irvin one of the greatest grappling teams of all time, and for sure the greatest, most accomplished American jiu-jitsu team in history. My guest for this day, Mr. Master Donnie, Mr. Donald Acknick. How you doing this morning?
I'm great. Thanks for having me.
For those of you who don't know, Master Donnie is one of the premier jiu-jitsu coaches on earth. He is responsible for turning 6 black belts, correct?
Yeah.
Taking 6 black belts. He created 6 black belts from their first day of jiu-jitsu, correct?
Yes, sir.
To being world-class competitors. Can you name like a couple of the stars that you've created?
The 6 of them now, it's like a pop quiz. We were
of
going
them?
over this. What do you mean name a couple? Now, you said there was 6. Now you got to name all 6 of them. How are you just going to name a couple?
The 6 black belts who they all reached elite level and as competitors. Shane Jamil Hill-Taylor. We have Malachi Edmond, Angelo Claiborne, Ray Alexander, Elijah Dorsey, and Corey Walker.
And you have one black belt world champion that you've created from nothing.
Yes.
Essentially. Shane Jamil Hill-Taylor. And you've played a huge role in other people's success on the team. I know for sure that I reached a new level training with you guys. So you can count me as one of your black belt world champions.
Thank you. Thank you.
You know, as far as, you know, the youth, you are probably the best kids coach this country's seen. There's others in Brazil that we could argue, but I mean, you guys, Team Lloyd Irvin Kids, have won Team of the Decade for NAGA, and I'm pretty sure you guys won it at least once, probably twice, and as well as, you know, your rank. You are a 3rd degree black belt.
Well, I just got my 4th degree.
Sorry, 4th degree black belt.
Hey, that's what's up. I didn't get that phone call. Weren't you there, Tim?
Yes, but
He was so excited. Tim got his stripe too, so you know. Yeah, that was really dope. That was really cool.
4th degree black belt. You've been training for how long? You've been coaching?
I've been training since 98, and I started teaching and coaching at the entry level in 99.
Yeah, for those of you that don't know, we did a virtual interview with Master Donnie during the pandemic, and he talks about how he met Master Lloyd. That is a funny, that is a funny story. I gotta find that clip and pull it, but y'all gotta go back and listen to that episode. I think he was a guest on the Patreon, or it might have been the other one. We've done a couple episodes with Master Donnie. This is the first one in person, because you know he always got a lot to talk about. I don't know what Tim has on his outline, but I definitely want to talk about like the kids training camps and things like that, because the stuff he was posting on Instagram, like he's not only successful in competitions, but like he's gonna kill it on social media if he starts making reels.
Yeah, I'm trying.
Because the clips from them kids are hilarious.
All right, so quick segue before we get into that. You have competitors going to Europeans this year.
Yes.
Oh, that's got to be a whole topic too. No,
yes.
We definitely got no. That's got to be a whole topic. Like, so if you want to be, we definitely got to talk about Europeans.
Not first time for TLI, because you guys.
Yes,
no.
But first time we have kids who grew up in the program who are making that trip, because, I mean, we can go through the whole dynamic. We're very blue collar here, so. In that regard, we never really put Europeans on the map, and it just wasn't in our habit. Even with like Shane Jamil, we call him Jamil here, but Shane, Europeans was just never a thing. It just wasn't in our yearly schedule. But this year, for the first time, it was actually Elijah Dorsey, Big Breakfast BJJ. He was really pushing. He wants to travel. He like just got his black belt last year.
I love it.
He wants to be out and be on the scene. It's always, without him saying it, I can tell it's always been probably part of his black belt goals is when he gets his black belt, he wants to go everywhere and compete all over the world. So he really pushed it this year. So yeah, now we're going.
That's awesome.
All right, so how many people are flying out there this year?
So right now on the competitors roster, we have a couple of purple belts: Quentin Dixon, Corey Dorsey. I hope I'm not missing anybody in the lower belts. At black belt, we have Shane Jamil, Elijah, and Malachi. So that's our roster right now.
That's a lot of black. That's a lot of.
I am beyond pissed off that I cannot go with y'all, because I used to go to Europeans all the time. I would go by myself. I would meet up with people from like Brazil, who can be super frustrating to meet up with because they're very unorganized. We staying in all these random places, hostels, this and that. As you know, traveling. Oh, yeah. as you well know, the kids are one thing. Trying to travel with like a Muhammad Ali and a Tim and a DJ, all things that like Master Donnie has had to experience. But I am so mad that I can't be there for this trip, because it's going to be epic. Like, it's going to be fun, just like the vibes that they have traveling as a team on top of just competing. Like,
incredible.
Yeah, I'm excited.
And how many of them, once again, have you trained from an early age? So we get into like the kids training here.
So all of them. I mean, most of the kids that like when you see me coaching adults at the tournament, most of them came up with me through their youth, and that's why I'm still, I don't like to say their main coach, because me and Master Lloyd work as a team, but on a communication standpoint, I'm normally the primary coach in that regard. So, but don't get me wrong, I always work with a lot of guys. I work with you, I work with DJ, work with Muhammad. I always want to help the best I can. It doesn't matter what role I'm in. If I'm the main communicator, great. If I'm number 4, 5, 6, 10, it doesn't matter. I think that's one thing that I do like about our team. There's really no egos in that regard, and we all just get together and try to give each other. One case in point, one time Muhammad was fighting Keenan in the Pans, I believe. I think it was the final, and that's a big match. Big match. Our head honcho is Master Lloyd. Master Lloyd like took that vest off because he knows Keenan likes to play worm and everything else, and he was like, Jamil, brand new black belt, throw that on. You're going to sit out there and coach this, because you have a better understanding of what I do, and you have the ability to coach Muhammad through some spots that I probably won't be able to do, or won't see as quickly as you will see, or I won't see the progression 4 or 5 moves in advance like you will. So I mean, that's us. That's how we roll. We don't have any egos in that regard. So the ones that you see me coaching most of the time into their adulthood, almost 100% of those guys started out as youth here. So that whole list that we just named, they all started as youth. Most of them around either 10 or younger.
Yeah, it's really funny if you follow them on social media, like especially around the birthdays. They were always posting pictures of when they were like little with their big ears and big smiles. It's so funny, like, and they love to go on each other too. So
I got so many pictures in my phone. I got so much ammunition.
There's a video of Bree that I really want to see, that I heard a lot about during Worlds and all that.
Yeah.
But it's like, and I also know you guys like to study the brackets, especially Jamil. Like, he knows a lot of those like purple belts, blue belts, and go through things. So what is it like training for Europeans, where you get a different type of competitor coming from different places?
Well, for me, I like to preach. I don't really preach studying your opponent. I don't really preach that.
I know he just likes to study everybody. Jamil knows everybody.
Jamil knows everybody. Elijah also likes, I don't preach against it either. I'm more so like, hey, but like, for instance, Corey Walker, he don't even want to know. He don't want to know who it is. If Corey could erase any knowledge of who that person is before a match, he would do it. He doesn't like to, because in his mentality, it's never helped him. He's like, it's only made him hesitant and different things like that. He likes to, hey, let's just go. I've been doing jiu-jitsu my whole life. Let's go out here. I'm going to do what I do. You do what you do. And I'm going to bet on myself. That's Corey Walker. When he's at his best, that's how he is. But me personally, I do study. Like, I try to study their opponents. And even if the athlete doesn't know that I'm studying, normally that will help me if I'm mat side. It'll help me being able to say one thing, hey, when you go out there, kill the left sleeve. And I don't have to say why, They'll be like, oh, okay. There's trust there, so they know, hey, as soon as I go out here, I want the left sleeve killed, which basically means grab it, pin it, hold it in front of them. And or I'll say, don't, before you get your grips, rotate to the right or rotate to the left, because it's something I saw. And then, but as they mature as black belts, mature as competitors, then we start to have more back and forth. Like me and Jamil can talk back and forth. He likes to do this, he likes to do that. And honestly, he's at a point now, he's educating me way more than I'm educating him. I'll just give my 2 cents.
That outside perspective,
He's so sharp with it. He's so, like, if he wants to be, because it does require a desire to do so. But if he wants, like when he's done competing, if he wants to be a coach or builder of students, he'll be fantastic if he wants, because he does not, like him and Master Lloyd, in my personal experience, break down technique better than anyone I've ever met. The difference now, sorry Master Lloyd, is that Jamil is into what's going on today, all the high-tech stuff. He's more interested. Master Lloyd, if you challenge him, hey, Master Lloyd, I bet you can't. He'll see this, and he may be like, what? I'm about to go break down 15 techniques. I bet you it's going to be better than Jamil. If you challenge Master Lloyd, he's a competitor. He'll go do it.
He's definitely
but Jamil
a competitor.
actually is at an age and at a point in his life where he's still in love with jiu-jitsu as far as watching the movements and things like that. And Master Lloyd Master Lloyd loves jiu-jitsu he's at the top of the list of loving jiu-jitsu. So I'm sure he's still looking at stuff and breaking stuff down. And Master Lloyd sends me video all the time, like me being one of his instructors, and he knows I'm relaying information. He'll always be like, man, look at this, and then he'll point out a part of the movement that's the most important part of the movement, and most people would miss that. You know what I mean? I don't miss it anymore, but if I didn't have Master Lloyd doing that for me for the last 20 years, I definitely wouldn't have caught that. So as far as looking at footage and things like that, Jamil is definitely big on that. Malachi is pretty big on that. Angelo doesn't really care. Elijah actually really likes to look at his opponents before. He treats jiu-jitsu matches like football games. He likes to study film, X's and O's, stuff like that. So
yeah.
And Array is for those of you who don't know Array, she hasn't been competing for a while, but she's a civil engineer.
Super
she's
smart.
Pretty much any subject you bring up in anything, she always has a really good game plan of attacking that situation. So and then the other thing about Array that's really good about her, she asks a lot of questions. So she'll say, hey, I was watching, or I'll see somebody's game or see somebody do movements that fit in Array's jiu-jitsu personality, and I'll have that, I'll have Array watch that person. And then she'll come back with like, okay, I was seeing Kira Gracie do this, this, and this. Then I'll have to, go back and be like, oh, okay, and we'll go back and forth. So that's what's good with Array. But like I said, it depends on the athlete. You got Jamil, who will watch stuff, break it down, and then you have Corey, who don't want to see a thing.
Anything.
Yeah, you don't want to see a thing. So I leave it up to them. But I don't preach it, but we do it, definitely.
What are the keys to building a successful team? Let's just focus on the youth. Like, what do you think separates your program from other programs?
Well, I think for us, first you have to have a theme. Like, our theme is helping the community. So our theme is different. And if I say something that's offensive, I apologize, but I'm just giving my opinion on observations. You have AOJ, who I think are amazing, cutting edge of kid bringing up youth. But their theme is building great competitors. You know what I mean? So it's working, right? But it doesn't matter, as long as you have a theme, you can build on whatever your theme is. So for our theme, it's helping the community. And what happens after that, I mean, we have a lot of kids who are here, who come in here, especially pre-pandemic, to just be martial artists. They got ADHD or ADD. They got issues going on at home. They got anger, all these different things that parents would enroll their child into a martial arts. Like you have not seen an ad yet from, you have not seen a TLI ad yet that talks about, you want your kid to be, number one, A, B, C, D, and E. You never see that. You see build confidence, improve academics, all the things that parents would bring their kids for that's more community-based. And, make new friends, things like that. That's what we're about. That's our thing. And then from there, then you have the building blocks. For us, it's just so happens that the instructors here are passionate about competition. So we built a competition team, and then it happens organically because we have kids competing and doing well, and we have adults competing and doing well. The youth want to follow the footsteps of the martial artists that are doing well in front of them, and it begins to take form that way. That's how we do it. But I would suggest, like, if I were to mentor somebody, I would say, hey, you have to have a theme. Like, what's your theme? And as long as it's positive, then you have to build on that. If you just sit here and go, I guess I'm anti-recruit, right? When it comes to kids, I don't believe in that recruiting.
You guys haven't been recruiting for the kids program for a while, right?
Never.
I saw an ad saying that you guys were going to start recruiting for the first time.
Well, we're going to start allowing. I hate the word recruiting. We're going to start
or like accepting new students. So it's not
who have already trained somewhere else, and that's kind of like more of a. I hate to say experiment because you're not experimenting with kids, but it's an experiment with the competition team, not so much kids. Because the difference between those kids and the kids that we have here that come in and they live, 10 miles down the road or 5 miles down the road, those kids are coming in to improve their quality of life via martial arts. And we've had a lot of success working with those kids. Kids who you recruit are coming because they feel that they're not being satisfied or they're not getting the results that they should be getting with the instructor they were with before.
So have you had people
results? Yeah.
Have you had people asking?
We've had not like, well, I haven't. But Master Lloyd may have.
Yeah.
And normally when you get those, you're normally going to be looking at teenagers. That's mostly going to be teenagers. Again, when you start having 9-year-olds and parents being willing to uproot them from whatever they're doing, and coming to a whole different program at 9 or 10 years old, for me, that's a red flag. For me. Because I'm like, it may be a little too serious. That may be a little too serious because in my mind, that 9 or 10-year-old is enjoying jiu-jitsu based on the experience he's having or she's having, where they're at. You're talking about uprooting them, leaving all the friends that they've made, leaving all the, the instructors and the program and everything that they've enjoyed, and then supplanting them here. And we have a fantastic program, but they didn't come here to be a part of the program. They don't care about the rewards for getting a good report card. They don't care about the citizenship patches. They don't care about anything. That they're just here to get on that mat and get some rec and roll with a better quality of competitor. That's not really my thing. I don't really believe that's healthy when you play the numbers game. You get 10 of those students, maybe one of them is actually someone that may work out. I don't like those odds. I don't like those because the other nine, well, I mean, long story short, a long time ago, we had a bunch of people leave, our adults leave our academy. It's no secret. But this is the thing. Everyone that left came from somewhere else. They all were already established martial artists from somewhere else. No matter how close they were with the team, no matter how much they threw up the logos, and they were not from here. They didn't have that connection. They were mercenaries.
Mercenaries.
And I mean, we loved them. Still love them. I talk to a lot of them still, but it's different. And I don't have a problem with that in the adult realm. I think it's perfectly fine. I don't agree with the Burger King, the Burger King mindset. Like, hey, I'm paying money and I can go wherever I want. I don't believe in that. You know what I mean? But
I think one time you asked or you said something about the reason that you don't charge for the competition team, or I'm not sure if it was because you don't charge or you do charge. It was like, so I'd kick you off if I want to.
Yeah, I don't want entitlement there. Entitlement is one of the worst things that can happen to anybody, much less a kid. But entitlement, so if this is extra, if this is something we're doing for passion and it's something that you have to earn your way onto, I'd rather not charge you because I don't want you to feel entitled to say things that you know nothing about. You have a concern about your issues or a concern about how things are affecting you or your child or whatever the situation may be. That's fine. That's not entitlement. But to want to change things around to gear them to how you feel it would work, I'd rather not, But even then, if you think about it, you look at some of the most elite programs in the world, which you look at like Harvard and Cornell and all the big universities, they are geniuses because they found a way to get $150,000 off you and still have you in the non-entitlement understanding that, hey, we're coming here to be a part of what you do, and we're going to pay you, $150,000.
Yeah, and it's such a rough environment too.
You know what I mean? But at the end, if you get through the grind of Harvard, you're going to be pretty good. You're going to be doing pretty well for the rest of your life, and then they can turn around and say, "See, I told you. We got you. Don't worry. You're in the best program in the world. You're going to be fine." So, with our competition team, it is like that, and with kids. Kids are different because the concerns that we deal with kids are more for parents, and parents' concerns are important and they do matter. And there's a big difference as well because 9 out of 10 times the parent doesn't do jiu-jitsu. Only the child does it. So it's up to me and the other coaches and the child to be able to communicate what jiu-jitsu is and what the the different stages, and especially if they're a competitor, the different stages of growth as a competitor. Because a kid starts off just wanting to compete, to go run around, get pizza after the tournament. That's how it starts. But at some point, there's going to be a switch that goes off that say, "Hey, actually, I think I want to win." You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then
your motivation changes.
Next switch, when they don't win, they're going to be like, okay. And then, and then people fall off each way, and then eventually that kid that makes it all the way up here, they're going to be the kid who wanted to have fun, didn't win at first or might have won or wanted to win better or whatever, understood that you have to attach that to work. The parents have to agree to have them put in more work, make a commitment. And then once they put in the more work and they still lose, understanding that, you know what I mean? We're in a marathon, not a sprint. So that is when you build a kids program, all those things have to be mapped out in a sense. When you build a competition team, so I mean, you start with the kids program, whatever your platform is, whatever your theme is, that's where it starts, and you have to be consistent. If your theme, like us, is to build better human beings, then that can never go away. And it doesn't. You don't see our kids snatching their hands away from referees, and you don't see them. We see so much on the mat. I would challenge. Nobody's perfect, and we have large kids teams, so I'm sure we have had a hand snatch. We've had one or two, but when it happens, you don't see them at the next tournament. No matter how good they are, they won't be there, and they may not be at the next tournament. Because we're consistent with our theme, and that's our theme. Now, if your theme is just to build competitors, we've seen that, and we've seen some amazing kid competitors. But they run over to the sideline. They're talking to their coach. You know, I don't like to curse too much, especially publicly, but they're like, man, what the fuck, and all this type of stuff to their coach. And I'll just be sitting there like,
The kids?
Yeah. Yeah. And the coaches, and then, you know, it's a different culture that they built. And I'm not saying that that's bad. You know, the coach may not have bad intentions, but it's maybe something he don't care about.
I remember
you know?
hearing it at Worlds one time against, I forget who was fighting. It might have been Bree, and Bree had beat this person a couple times. And the way the coach was talking, I had asked you, I was like, are you serious? And you had to explain it. I was like, yeah, he was like really like, he was emotional and invested in that.
Yeah, he was losing it on the side, and he was cursing and yelling at her, and she's very good. And in fairness, it's for her to be as good as she is. She just couldn't beat Bree at the time. He has to be a decent coach, you know. So, but he lost it.
Of course, you're gonna wrestle hard.
Yeah, he lost.
Yeah,
he lost it.
like,
He lost.
wow.
I mean, I should say this. He doesn't have to be a good coach, but technically he has to be doing something right. But again, that's the thing I'm talking about too. It's a marathon. We've had plenty of kids. I've had Shane. A lot of people, you know, I tell this story not too often, but his first experiences, his first year competing as a kid, he's always been very good. He's always been very quick, explosive. He's been smart. You know, he's a very intelligent grappler, always been. But he was catching some rough matches. And one tournament, you know, his dad comes down to me, and I didn't see this match. I wasn't coaching. I was coaching somebody else. His dad comes up to me. He's like, this is what his dad says to me. Hey, you better go get your boy. I'm like, and he's up in the stands having a full-blown temper tantrum.
Aww,
His mom and his aunts are up there, and he's throwing stuff around, and he's sitting in his arms crossed, blowing out tears. You know what I mean? He's about 11 years old. And, man, we go up and we address that. You know, I say, hey, I don't have a problem with you being furious and you feel you got a bad call or whatever. He may have snatched his hand away that time, but I didn't see it. Because the way he was acting,
Donnie would have snatched up a belt right quick.
The way he was acting up there, I wouldn't be surprised if he snatched
really?
his. Yeah, he
you were the last one. I would have thought.
He was.
You remember shooters like
But that's
verse
like wait,
two,
but like
line
he goes in his little
three.
corner and has the music.
Yeah.
Full-blown temper tantrum is. I would have never.
No,
thought.
he still has them, but you just don't see him. When he lost, oh man, I'm putting all Jamil's business out there. When he lost that blue belt, and he was definitely favored to win. He was on fire. He lost at the world's blue belt, and we kept him at blue belt because at these times, this was like right before the time when everyone used to bump their juveniles to purple. This was literally the year before, so we didn't do that.
Yeah.
So okay, well you won juvenile worlds, now you got to win
Adult
men's.
world, yeah.
You know, he gets to match 3, maybe 4, and he is dominating. First 2-3 matches, I can't remember, just dominant. Gets to the other match, and the guy has a little tight game. Jamil couldn't just rough through it, and he made and at the end of the match, I made a call. I told him to do a re-roll, and it was a bad call. I admit to it, but Jamil did it really bad. His execution was worse than my call. And even to this day, he was like, I wasn't hip to the baby Rebolo. And they're like, that's what happened. Because Jamil's so explosive, so fast. Like, man, he could just roll here, and if it doesn't work, he just come back on top. But he rolls so slow because the guy had a good grip. He slowed him down. And then Jamil, we couldn't recover, and his time ran out. You know, Jamil, he didn't go up in the stands. He went up, and I will never forget this image. He sat in this chair for about 2.5 hours in the same seat, just didn't move. And that was his temper tantrum. He was so salty. He was so salty. He didn't want to look at that blue belt. You know what I mean? Like
man.
I know what was going in his mind. I'm like, I gotta wear this crap for another year. You know what I mean? Like
that's the hardest belt.
Yeah.
Because that's the hump everyone got to go through.
Yeah, because you got to
okay.
fight about 7-8 matches sometimes.
Yes, and it's so widespread the level because I had no prior grappling experience.
Yeah.
So like you go through white belt, like, okay, I'm a blue belt, like I'm kind of tough. But then blue belt, so many people, and there's guys that are like former judokas, world class wrestlers, and like you're a young kid at his age, you start early, you're fighting grown ass men. So I know he was probably sick.
Oh, he was sick. And here's another disclaimer. Give a little. It's a pun and a shout at the same time. And I think his name, his family is awesome. His father is awesome. I think his name, the kid who ended up winning that division, I think his name is Andrew Spencer. I think he was an AOJ or Atos guy at the time. Atos, I think, and AOJ were still together.
Mm-hmm.
Jamil watched this kid win the world title. Not easily, but handedly. And Jamil at the Pan tapped him out after winning 12-0 and then tapping him out at about the 4 or 5 minute mark.
Oh man!
Mm-hmm. It was only a 6 minute match. So I want to say maybe the 3 minute mark. And so styles make fights. So you can never say. But that also just added. He was like, oh my god. But Andrew, I don't know if he's still active. I think his name is Andrew Spencer's on our team, right?
Andrew Spencer. That name sounds very familiar.
If his name's not Andrew Spencer, you know what? It's not Andrew Spencer. Andrew Spencer's a fighter on our team. His first name is Spencer. I can't remember his last name. The kid's name was Spencer, and he was on AOJ. He won a world title at blue belt. He's a good kid. If anyone's going to win it, we're glad he won it. Mm-hmm. His family's really cool. His dad was really cool, always very gracious, talking to us on the sidelines. But yeah, so anyway, characters first, always been, always will be, even in adulthood. Even in adulthood, I try to, get on these guys about doing the right thing and trying to, do the things that they're supposed to be doing and not cut up, But young people make mistakes, but it's always like, hey, your baseline is to be a martial artist first.
There's a lot of cutting up in the game now.
Oh yeah,
it's just, I'm glad that you built this here because it's an opportunity for young people to really reach their full potential, and I think that jiu-jitsu has really lost that.
Yeah.
I think when I started coming up, that's when the real change shifted, like early 2010s, when guys were just, I'm just a full-time grappler. And then, we starting to get like sports parents in jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
It's getting kind of crazy.
Big time.
They can be the worst sometimes. At competitions, especially when they have no idea what's going on.
So with that being said, like you talked about, you've been in the game for 20 plus years. Is there anything, we love your hot takes. Is there anything in the game that you notice that you don't like? The things that have changed that go against you as a martial artist? Because I look at myself as a martial artist, not like a jiu-jitsu guy, not a soldier of fortune. And I know you do too. And I know when you started it was a lot different. Yeah. So is there anything in the game that you would like to see change or you just disagree with?
Well, if we're talking about kids, well, actually, this can go back to kids too. My biggest issue, obviously, is PEDs. I have not been silent about that. I'm not an advocate either, but I have a problem with PEDs. One, because number one, it's cheating. There's not there. I mean, there's no. I liken it to boxers with casted gloves, or saying, hey, me and you have an issue. We like the same girl. So we're gonna fight over it after school, and then I come and put a roll of quarters in my hand. It's unfair. It's cheating. It gives you an unfair advantage. It is a choice, and I know that someone was saying, oh, you could probably relate. They were like, oh, well, people do it. It's their choice. If you don't want it to happen to you, you can do it too. But being an instructor of I would love to see an instructor of a kids program, and maybe I'm naive, but there's no way in the world, if I'm a parent, I'm putting my kid in a program where an instructor's going, hey, you guys are too young right now, but hey, once you get around 12 or 13, we're going to go ahead and put you on a cycle,
that's wild. That young?
Get your mind right for needles and sticks. Well, yeah, that's what I hear. I hear 12, 13, 14. That's happening. I haven't heard the story so much here. I do hear them about in Brazil. We get a lot of rumors. We, TLI has had a lot. We've supported a lot of great Brazilian athletes, and not just supported, but they actually come here and become a part of the program and learn here. May, Erberth, Gobi, Muhammad actually took the full plunge and moved here and stayed here. And we hear a lot of things. We hear a lot, and I don't want to just liken it to Brazilian athletes, because I'm seeing it with the American athletes, especially in the no-gi competition. If you have I love ADCC. I made a couple I don't have that many followers, so who cares, but I made a couple posts, a couple story posts, and made a couple comments about ADCC versus IBJJF and these type of things. And
that joint went viral.
Yeah,
like, we still get likes on this.
Yeah.
He wasn't even on air. I just read the message.
Yeah, so I mean, I don't think it's healthy. It's not like you're in entertainment wrestling now, right? Mm-hmm. And there are a lot of the guys that I don't even know if in your organization or a higher organization they do steroids. And people are like, oh, well, entertainment wrestling. I'm like, but these guys are, I hope I'm not ruining anyone's, doing pretty much somewhat scripted performances. It's just they're dangerous. They put a lot of wear and tear on the body, but they're not really trying to break each other's arms and crack arms or
hurt each other.
Like they're not where in their situation, the steroids is pretty much the only way they can commit to the type of schedule they have all year long. I wouldn't have a problem with that. That's a choice. That's a choice with two individuals who are going to put on a show that puts a lot of wear and tear for fans. Just like I have no problem with unnatural bodybuilders. Man, if that's what they're doing and they need steroids to get incredible Hulk physique, and they're competing with other people who are knowingly taking. But when you're talking about a person who's about to do bodily harm to another person, and this person's not on steroids, and this person's on steroids, I just don't see how that is fair. I don't like the message that comes down to the youth, because, and I don't know who, no one has admitted to anything, and I'm not, I don't want to name any names, but some people you can see the visual, and it's hard to believe otherwise.
It's so blatant.
Yeah, and so and there's people in the sport that I like a lot. Do I think they're on steroids? Yes, I still like them a lot. A lot of people accuse like and all these guys of being steroid users. I'm still a fan. I can't wait to watch them, but that message is so skewed because let's say they were. Let's just say, hey, okay, it's confirmed they are. Then it's just such a skewed message because now if you have a kid who looks up to that person, and that person, even though that person is giving all the great messages, like I really like, I mean, his social media presence is crazy, but it's so entertaining. I get it. When his post comes up, I'm reading it, But if that were the thing, I wouldn't like that, because I know that he has lots of kids who look up to him. And if that's if Michael Jordan's doing steroids, all these little kids playing basketball, well, that's our generation. But if LeBron comes out and says, hey, you know what? The secret to my success in all these years was steroids, man. You got to take them. And hey, now they're safe. They're safe to take.
Steroids and liver.
All the kids are going to take them. If Steph Curry goes, hey, the key to my jump shot is the ability for me to practice, and I shoot 10,000 jumpers a day. There's no way your arm and body would be able to withstand that wear and tear unless you take some steroids. Guess what? Parents and everyone else is going to be putting those children on steroids. I don't like that, and I'm not. I'm kind of mad that I even mentioned any names, because I don't want to mention names when it comes to those things. I'm not saying that the people, these are people that are already getting accused. So I'm not making a lone accusation, but they're already getting accused. So I'm not accusing them. I just think it would be tragic if that were the case and it was a confirmed issue, because if it were, that would just be, bad on their part. But I also understand people get falsely accused of stuff. And I don't want to accuse somebody when there's no, that's not, I don't really want to accuse somebody without any merit. And I'm not the type of guy to go find out. That's not my thing.
Fuck around, find out.
It's too much. But if I could change it, I would. If I could change it, I think it'd be great if everyone was tested extensively. And I also say this: the people that I think are on steroids, I think they would do fine without it. Like the people that are getting accused of doing steroids, you can't tell me that those people wouldn't be great if they didn't. Now, it may have changed some aspects. Maybe the dominance level would come down a little bit. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Maybe the size would come down a little bit. Therefore, they couldn't get some of these crazy, double this, double that. But I mean, and as far as I'm concerned, we don't know who's on and who's not. Like, I believe that Hodger Gracie's not. I wholeheartedly believe that. So, because that's my GOAT, right? Hodger Gracie's my GOAT. But I don't know. What? So, that goes into the human psychology, too. Like, he's my GOAT, so I don't want to believe he was ever on steroids. You know what I mean?
You got to recognize that denial. Because you don't wanna...
Like, Michael Jordan's my GOAT of basketball. He was never on steroids. If someone said, hey, we found out Michael Jordan... who's his trainer? Tim Grover comes out and says, "Hey, yeah, we had Michael Jordan on steroids to bulk up." I'd be like, no. You know what I mean? Because that's how the human mind works.
Yes.
But that's why I think there should be testing. ADCC makes more than enough money. Just test them.
They don't want to,
Yeah,
they don't want to. It doesn't work well for their bottom line. But
and and that just bothers me, because I know, okay, so if you test them and you think your superstars are going to get popped, and then guess what? There's going to be other superstars. That's what. When has jiu-jitsu, in any level of jiu-jitsu, when has it relied on steroids to have a superstar in any form of grappling? The only thing that steroids has ever done for any sport is make one person rise above the crop by cheating. If that person wasn't there, someone else would be there. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? That's why I don't know why these organizations don't just test. Can
I add something to that?
Yes.
It's because they're probably buddies with the people that know what piss.
I mean, there's a human side.
It's like the Michael Jordan thing, and another thing too. I said last episode with Nico, it's only wrong if someone you don't like does it. Yeah. So when people get, you know what I mean, like so.
And the thing is too, like a lot of the people, like I said, a lot of the people getting accused, I think they're phenomenal, and they're just getting accused. So we don't know, But again, it comes also to culture. Like, we have a culture here where we don't believe in PDs at all.
Do we though?
Yeah. Well, here at TLI.
I mean, here, yes. No, we're talking about saying the United States.
No. In TLI, we have a non-PED, and it's frustrating. It's definitely frustrating sometimes, because, like, you see the guys walking around aches and pains. No, we're not going to be doing 3-day. We're not doing. Man, if you do a hardcore strength and conditioning at 5 a.m. or 6 a.m., you're not training hard that day for the rest of the day. You're not. You're done.
I tried to do that for the longest. Yeah.
So, but there's guys that they're fine. They train hard and in the morning, and then they have their enhancements so that they can recover and heal, and it goes beyond supplements, beyond legal supplements, and therefore, that's an advantage that they have. And I don't agree. I don't agree with that. But again, a lot of the guys that are being accused, I think, are great. I just think that there's a culture. They came up in a culture, and it's unfortunate, But I mean, it's hard. It's the world. Money. You got everything involved. There's a lot to that. It's like even the IBJJF. You pop for steroids in the IBJJF. You win a world title, you pop positive. That information doesn't come out for months. by the time that information came out, you're already the recognized world champion for so much. You've done seminars. You've done this. The world has.
You got your 15 minutes.
The world has seen you do what you did, and that image isn't going anywhere. You know what I mean? They're like, oh no, that's false. So I hate name. Well, there was a very, 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 very good BJJ artist who popped for steroids first year at black belt, and he beat a legend in the finals, and he literally like was throwing this guy, mauling him. You know, and if it wasn't for this legend, and the legend was Leandro Lowe, rest in peace. You know what I mean? And if it wasn't for who Leandro was, it probably would have been just a quick mauling. But Leandro was Leandro. He hung in there and fought the whole match. But there was in no way, shape, or form was there any chance you could see from the opening 30 seconds that Leandro was going to be able to withstand
that guy looked like a Super Saiyan.
This onslaught. Yeah. And guess what? Leandro's the world champion that year. You know why? Because the person who won ended up testing positive for PEDs and got stripped, and Leandro won. But what's our memory of that world title? It's not Leandro triumphantly.
Human.
Yeah, it's not. So, you know, even the IBJJF, who I commend a lot for at least putting something in play, it's still BS. You know what I mean? It's still not. It's not. And why are they only testing the winners? There's rumors that there have been guys who literally will give up first place or bow out to their teammate, and or you know what I mean, or because they're gonna pop. There's rumors on that. I don't know if that's true. So again, this is all speculation, but I know what's not speculation is that it is in our sport. You know, regardless of who it is or who's being accused, and there are people with lots of influence on the youth, and I think those people have, they have a power over our youth, and the only way our sport's going to grow is if you get more kids involved, and if you have more kids involved, if the top of the ladder says, hey, don't do PEDs, guess what? These kids aren't going to want to do PEDs. It's something as simple as that. Mm-hmm. And there's no one that's going to tell me that their quality of life would not be better if they didn't do PEDs. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, people think of the immediate results and not like the long-term health benefits, or even like doing a lot of steroids will have you gassing out. Like it's going to help with your strength, but not really your conditioning.
At an early age, if you take that stuff.
And then the people who are a proponent of it are like, oh yeah, well you take it the right way and you do, but when you have a blanket influence, so if I'm a huge fan of Tim Spriggs, and Tim Spriggs, everyone's like, oh, Tim Spriggs on steroids, Tim Spriggs on steroids, Tim Spriggs on steroids, and that's what it is. Well, unless Tim Spriggs comes out and says, hey, kids, I am not on steroids. Don't do steroids. They will jack you up. Boom, 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 boom. It's win the right way, work, train, do the best you can. Injuries are part of sport. Then that will be powerful to me as a kid. Mm-hmm. But if he doesn't, guess what? I turned 12, 13, 14, 15. I don't know that even if Tim Spriggs isn't on steroids, I don't know that the people who do steroids and do them in the safest way possible have doctors and have their blood tests done. I just go to the Planet Fitness or the Fitness Equation or something, get the young 19, 20-year-old with a little briefcase or whatever happens in those locker rooms, and I'm just getting stuff stuck in my butt. Yeah, I'm definitely seeing a lot of that in Brazil. and that's me. And then next thing you know, I'm 22, 23 years old. I got heart problems. My forehead's too big. Not
the forehead though.
But it literally turned into a gargoyle.
Yeah, it literally could have been stopped just if that culture didn't exist in the sport. And right now, I don't feel like there's enough people that are anti-PEDs. There's less anti-PEDs, and the guys Man, the guys that are getting accused, man, come on, man. I don't care. Even if you are doing it, man, stop the kids from doing it.
Yeah, I know, right?
Get on there and tell kids, hey, you don't have to admit or not admit to anything, but tell kids to train. Do the Hulk Hogan. Say your prayers, eat your vitamins, man. Do something, because I don't believe that the culture is good for the sport, any sport, but this sport in particular.
Damn.
And that's where I have a big problem with. That's my biggest problem with our sport right now. That there's an overlying steroid influence, and in some of the most popular, most successful people in the sport have been strongly accused or have even already been caught. You know what I mean? We have a super fight about to happen. It's probably going to be the biggest money fight there is. And one of the guys has been accused, and the other guy has popped twice. He's been stripped of 2 world titles. And I like both of them, and I'm fans of both of them. And I don't care what they did. That's their life. They're making money. I don't hate on their money, But just say something. Just say something to the kids. You know what I mean? That's all I ask. Hey, say something to the kids.
People don't care about these kids nowadays. People don't care about the kids nowadays.
Yeah.
That's what they be saying. They're just all about their money and their bag, their this, that.
But you don't, Master Donnie.
Yeah.
Master Donnie is all about the kids. So, Master Donnie, thank you very much. Thanks for all your insight. Thanks for creating this. Thanks for helping so many youth reach their full potential. Is there anything you want to say before we wrap? Any message?
How long before this airs?
Monday.
All right. Monday. Good. January 22nd, I'll be at Top Flight. MMA Aberdeen doing a TLI seminar, but I just found out that the seminar is open to the public. I have no problem sharing what we do. Again, I want to help be a positive influence in the sport. And lastly, I don't have a problem with anybody's success. I want everyone to continue to be successful. I just want our sport to move in a positive direction and moving in a direction where it can grow. And I do believe that with any sport, the kids are the answer. Every sport that's a major sport, there's youth. Right now, you got kids playing football, Pop Warner, basketball, AAU. You have all these. So, those of you, shout out my main guy who's a kids coach who I just think is awesome is Devontae Johnson. So I always got to give him a shout out because he gets it. He's concerned about the kids. I give a shout out to Diego Bispo down in Virginia.
Oh yeah, I'm trying to get Tim to go because I still have donations and they're going to Diego. Like the rest that I have, they're going to Diego, and I want to talk to him because he's all about the kids program too.
I've never really met Diego, and because he has a good team and
y'all should have gone down when y'all compete at VA Beach. You guys should go down and try to meet up with him.
But
everything I've heard and then I've seen him interacting and I'm like, hey, you know what? I think Diego gets it, for the longevity of the sport. And I think he's done a really good job being a Brazilian coach, but working with American kids.
Oh, yeah. He killed it.
I think he's done a really good job. And that's not an easy transition. So, I mean, for me, it's just about, hopefully more people get more involved in actually building better human beings. And I think we're living proof that we have a platform that's built upon building character first. But I put our team against anybody. I think we're right there, and we're clean, and we build clean athletes who aren't trying to cheat. And again, the people out there that are cheating, I'm sorry, I'm not trying to attack you. I don't blame you. I blame the culture you came up in. So I think as a whole, jiu-jitsu needs to clean up their culture so that the kids that are coming up, even if this whole generation is juiced to the gills, the next generation hopefully won't. The next generation won't be. And I know this man has been clean his whole career, and I know knowing how strong he is and knowing how talented he is and knowing how good his technique is, there's been a few times where I'm like, dang. And I'm saying this here, I don't let athletes make excuses. But I'm like, man, I would love to see that run back with a good old-fashioned USADA test prior to. Not after, prior to, like the UFC. Let's get some testing and see what it's like, And I know that can't happen for the IBJJF events, but it can happen for these super fights. Man, put these super fights together and then throw some, spend an extra $10K or whatever of those earnings to do some pre-fight testing. It would be great. But like Master Lloyd tells me, as much as we are anti-PED, probably not going to change.
Yeah.
It feels good to say it anyway.
Feels real good. And it felt real good to have you on the show once again, Master Donnie. Thanks for coming out. And thank everyone back at home watching. This has been another episode of the BJJ Goons podcast. On behalf of Nico. Oh, go ahead, Nico.
No, I was just going to say peace. I always miss the damn peace. And the 1, 2, 3.
Until next time.
Whatever.
Peace. Bye, everybody. See you next time.
Whatever.